Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Knit State of Mind podcast. This is episode 16. Today is Saturday, September 12th, 2020. This is a podcast where we share our mini crafts, primarily knitting and Heather, sometimes some crochet and cross stitch, and just maintain and being in a knit state of mind. So welcome everyone. I'm Wanda. You can find me on Ravelry as wattywat, and you can find me on Instagram as Zest in Class.
And I'm Heather. I'm heathertee on Ravelry and heathertee3 on Instagram. And our podcast Instagram is Knit State of Mind, so you can find us there. And I have all three today: knitting, crochet, and cross stitch.
Wonderful. So trying to think, do we have any knit-alongs going on right now? Any business? We just wrapped up the summer make-along.
We did. We sent out the prize for that, and I believe Jennifer received it, so that was great to see. We have our winter ready make-along now, so we'll be showing some winter ready things today. And we also have our ongoing Clear the Needles 2020, and I'll give you an update of where I'm at with that. And we've been seeing a few more people have been posting in our Ravelry group about that too, including one, Anne, I think, posted a giant cabled blanket that she finally finished. So that was really exciting.
That's awesome. So I will set up, I haven't yet, the Ravelry group for the winter ready make along and close the one for the summer ready make along. Actually, it's crazy. I guess we're kind of operating in terms of two seasons, winter and summer. We have been contending with the fires and having to stay indoors a little bit more than usual, but
yeah. So our heart goes out to everybody who is suffering from the smoke, or people who have lost their homes in the fire. I know I have a lot of family in Oregon and a lot of people I know that are in evacuation zones. So hoping everybody's safe out there and doing what you need to keep yourself healthy.
Yes, indeed. All right. So it looks like you're wearing a knit.
I am. And I know you have a finished object too. Okay, I'll start. I am wearing Audrey and Unst. This is a knit. You've seen recently, I have another version of this in black that I finished and then had to rip the sleeves out of because the sleeves were too small. So this is the old one that I made in like 2010-ish, I think. I'm not exactly sure when. It's made out of Cascade Heritage Solids in a green color, and this pattern is by Gudrun Johnston. And I decided to wear it today because I'm actually thinking about either giving it away or ripping it out to reclaim the yarn for another project. Yeah. It's just a little bit too small for me. You can see right here, like the sleeves are a little bit too small. It's always been a little bit barely fit, like across the bust, because I knit a size that I don't know why I chose that size, because I've never been that size like ever in my life. So I just made it too small. So anyway, when we talk about plans, I have something I'm thinking about making with the leftovers of this yarn, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. So I was like, all right, let me just wear this on the podcast before I rip it out.
Yeah. So I guess I'll have to wait in suspense until later in the podcast to find out what the potential plans are for it.
Yeah, I'll show you at the end.
I love the color, the bold green.
Yeah, it's a green color, and actually when a great color, when I put it on today, I was like, well, maybe it's not too small. But the problem is if it's not buttoned, it just like gapes and falls off my shoulders. And
yeah, I look forward to seeing what you make from it, because good color. So I do have one finished object. I talked about it on the last podcast. I finished my Nanaimo cardigan. And what happened was we had really hot weather and things cooled off some. Just within that window of time, I was able to finish it. And so just to remind you, the Nanaimo cardigan, it's a pattern by Goodnight Day on Ravelry and Instagram. Her name is Tara-Lynn Morrison. Always almost forget her last name. And I knit it using the Lyne's brand Wool Ease. And so that took me about 3.5 balls of yarn. So this is what I have left over. When I finished the first sleeve, I had this much, and I said to myself, I'm probably not going to have enough to finish the other sleeve. So I had to run to Michael's and grab some more yarn. And I'll tell you in a moment what else I got with that yarn when I went to Michael's.
And they had it, right? They still had the same color?
Oh, they had tons of it.
Okay.
Oh, and the colorway. So that is, I have the thing. So I have about half a skein. I weighed it. I had 66 grams left, and it comes in 140 grams in each ball. And so it's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. It feels delicious. So this is the colorway Sequoia. I'll hold it up, but I'm going to put it on. I guess I should just put it on.
Yeah, put it on. I know it's not super hot here today like it was last time we recorded, but it's also not cold enough for a bulky sweater probably.
I've actually been wearing it. It gets cool. It's been kind of cool lately, and I love it. It is it's a sweater blanket.
Oh my gosh, it looks so great. I love this pop-up collar there.
So you can wear the collar. Oh, I can move the chair and then you can probably see better. So you can wear the collar, fold it down, pop it up. And so the pattern, it's more cropped than this. So I went a few inches longer than the pattern calls for. And that is a comfy length. It feels like I can just cozy up in it. And same thing, the sleeves in the pattern are supposed to be a little short as well, but I went a few inches longer. So the sleeves are a little billowy. And it's like a bomber, and it's just the coziest, softest, comfiest thing ever. And I think the colors are versatile as well. Because this looks good until I get too hot.
It's like the knitted version of a leather jacket, I feel like it's that same color.
Yeah. That's a good comparison. So I love it. It's exactly what I wanted, a knit sweater cardigan that I can wear as a jacket, our equivalent of a jacket here in the Bay Area. And I'm looking forward to making not quite this bulky, but more oversized or chunky sweaters like this. And again, it'll just be like wearing a jacket out here, and something that I'm pretty sure I'll get a lot of wear out of. At first, I was like, sweaters with bulky weight yarn. But if you're thinking of it as a jacket, then you will wear it here. I'm trying to think what else. I followed the pattern pretty much to T, except for the lengths. It was easy to follow, pretty straightforward. Just a super fun.
I remember you were talking about maybe putting a closure on it. Did you decide if you're going to put like a toggle button or anything like that on there, or just leave it how it is?
Leave it how it is. Like I can always go like this. The other thing that you reminded me of is I debated pockets. but I thought of it after the fact, and I think because of the bulkiness of this kind of attaching and sewing on a pocket rather than having it built in. So maybe if I make another one or something similar to this in the future, I'll plan ahead of time to put pockets in there.
I could see it being nice with like slit pockets too, right? Rather than patch pockets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I would prefer. Because I like to do that, be able to just kind of slide my hands into a nice cozy pocket. So yeah.
Nice. It came out so great. I was watching Best Day Ever while I was getting all my stuff ready today, and Arthella said that you enabled her to make a Nanaimo and that she had gotten some Lyne brand also. So she's not going to regret it now that she sees the FO.
That's awesome. Yes, check it out. I had started the episode, but I didn't finish it, so I didn't catch that part. But yeah, I highly recommend it, and that yarn works really well for this pattern. It worked well for me. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say is that I did not enjoy knitting on US 19s. And so I don't know how many more projects I'll make using needles that big. But about 13, okay. But 19,
yeah.
kind of.
So you could make is that yarn a bulky technically or a chunky? I don't know which is
pretty sure. Wait, where did
bulkier. I feel like if you used the next weight down with the 13s, you know what I mean? You could make a lot more chunky projects, but I don't know what the difference between chunky and bulky yarn is or which one's.
The label doesn't say, but oh, it's super bulky.
Super bulky. So maybe you just need bulky.
Yeah, bulky. Yeah. And then the needle size that they recommend for knitting, interestingly, is a 13. If I'm reading that right.
It seems like, but that seems like the gauge would have been way too tight if you would have used a 13.
Can people see you?
I can't really see that. Well, is it 13 millimeters though, or a US 13? I can't see it well enough.
Just 13, and then in parentheses 9 millimeters.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. But I think that gauge is just right. Because I feel like if you had used a 13, it would be like super, it would be like stiff.
Ribbing is 13.
Okay.
The ribbing is done on a 13, so.
Yeah. Yay, it looks so great.
Thank you. Do you have any FOs?
I do. I have one knitting FO. So I finished my Lyne socks by Dawn Henderson. So these are a little shorty pattern that has this pretty twisted rib lace cuff.
They're so pretty.
So I finished these. I actually basically had to restart them because the issue was that the pattern says to do the cuff on one size and then the leg on a different size. And when I did the cuff on the smaller size needle, it was a little bit tight. Like I could get it over my ankle, but just barely, and it wasn't very comfortable. So I just ripped it all out and started again and just did the whole thing on a size 1 needle. Yeah, so it only took me about a week to do them because they are just the shorties. Yeah, so I'm really happy with them. And this is Cascade Heritage Sock. Actually, it's the same yarn as this, but in a different color. Although they've changed, I've heard that they changed where they manufacture this now. And this is the newer version. And it's a little bit softer, but not as sturdy. And this is the older version, which is a little bit, I don't know, it just is sturdier and doesn't pill quite as easily. So I prefer the older version. But anyway, so these are, again, the Lyne socks by Dawn Henderson. Now, you were texting me that you were going to maybe start a pair. Did you start some?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I still love those socks. And if you made them in a week, I could probably make them in 2 weeks.
You can.
I think we talked about in the last episode, shorties.
Mm-hmm.
And is that twisted rib?
It is, yeah. It's twisted. Both the lace pattern, the knit stitches here in the lace pattern, and the foot are twisted rib.
Oh yeah, I love the twisted rib.
Yeah, so it looks really nice. I knitted these on double pointed needles for some reason, and so I have a little bit of a ladder between where I had the two DPNs there, but I haven't washed them yet, so hopefully that'll go away. Cool. And then I have two cross stitch FOs. I've still been like picking away at cross stitch here and there, and I finished a few other like Christmas ornaments and stuff that I'm not going to show, but I was really excited about these. So this pattern, I didn't bring the pattern over here, but the pattern name is something having to do with dancing, and it's by Madame Chantilly. And there's a larger chart and a smaller chart. So I did both. I have some nieces who really like ballet and dance. So this is the larger chart, which is the dancing bunnies in all the different ballet positions. I haven't ironed it yet. I figure before I go to frame it, I'll iron it, and I'll probably frame them. They're for Christmas presents, so I'll probably frame them in November sometime. And then this is the smaller chart, which is just the one bunny.
Those are so freaking cute.
Aren't they cute though? Yeah, and they were really, like, I really enjoy stitching like this where there's big blocks of color, because you can just outline it and then kind of mindlessly stitch away. And then if you want more interest, you can do the little flowers or whatever that have more color changes. But
it's gonna be a perfect gift, particularly because they're into ballet.
Yeah.
And I just
thought something cute for their rooms. What's that?
I said I just like that the bunnies are brown.
Yeah. I really like that about it too. Actually, that was one of the things that struck me when I first saw the pattern. Yeah.
Yep. They're nice.
So love those. I love that designer, Madame Chantilly. So highly recommend. The patterns, the charts are really easy to read. I'm working on another pattern right now where the chart is just terrible. I won't say the designer, but it's the symbols are so small. I have to like get my phone out and like, you know, do the thing to make your photo bigger so I can see it, which irritates me, but anyway. Yeah, so that's my FOs. What have you been working on?
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what to share first. Since I just spoke about this, I'm going to share kind of a secret project, Heather.
Wait, is it a secret that I don't know about, or it's a secret from somebody else?
It's a secret that you don't know about.
Oh.
That I'm so excited about.
I love secrets.
Okay, so context. So I'll tell you, okay, let's build up the suspense. When I went to Michael's to get the other yarn, you know about this.
Yeah.
I was like, let's make the trip worth it. I had to do it quickly, so I passed by, and Heather had given me a heads up that Michael's has the Patons Kroy yarn. So I spotted this yarn right away. No surprise.
Yes.
Those are my colors, our colors. This is Patons Kroy FX, and it's 4-ply, the copper colorway. 166 yards, 75% wool, 25% nylon. So can we say that I'm in love with this yarn?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful.
The color is amazing, but then I've never knit with yarn that felt like this. And I don't know what it is, but it has like this springiness. It's just a joy to knit.
Oh, good.
A joy.
Yeah.
A joy.
I enjoy knitting with it too. So now I want to know, did you buy like 25 balls of it or something? What's happening right now?
I plan on buying more, but I bought 2 balls, and because I knew it was 166 yards per ball, I needed to make shorties. And I don't know, I was working on the other socks, but then that yarn was calling me. So I casted on some socks, one at a time. And I had seen this pattern. I don't know if you've seen it, Heather.
Is that the new pattern from Hey Brownberry?
It is.
I have seen it and I've been thinking about making it. Yeah.
So this is her now and next sock pattern. It's shorties. It's a pretty simple sock, but it has this motif going along the side. And so the other will have it on the other side. And, you know, there are things that I tend to be drawn towards. Oh, there you go. Get better like that. I think
it's seed stitch, because I know that's one of the things you like.
I like seed stitch, and you see, you already know all of the joy here, all of the joy. It's not seed stitch, but it looks but it's not seed stitch. So easy to memorize pattern. And I usually do 1x1 rib at the top. I did the 2x2 rib here. And her pattern writing is also amazing. So it's Hey Brownberry, her name's Marceline. And what I noticed, so I've knit quite a few pairs of socks now, but what I noticed about the way she writes her pattern is that it's also instructional. So she'll tell you things like measure this part of your ankles to your gusset, how to read where you are in your pattern. And it literally is instructional, and it's good for visual learners as well, just the layout of the pattern. So the layout of the pattern, the ease of the pattern, the yarn color, and the feel while I'm knitting, like it's springy, so it's like helping you as you go. It's bringing me so much joy. So I just finished the gusset decreases, and I'm rolling with the feet.
All right.
Yeah. So
yay.
That will be my first pair of shorties, but I'm getting the sense that I might find that I have a preference for shorties. Yeah.
I really like them for like wearing around the house, or I think my favorite length actually is with like just a tiny bit of cuff. For just like wearing around the house and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like I'm going to put them with my ankle, like the booties. It'll be interesting. I want to see, because it'll be nice to have a little bit popping up from the booties.
Yeah.
The boots. So we'll see. And I thought the pattern was really intentional. She has a great description for the pattern, talking about how perspectives shift, or, you know, thinking about how I might see something differently, and you can tell that from the pattern as well, how things shift in the pattern. So yeah, excited, enjoying those socks.
Cool. All right. Well, now I'm going to have to knit those. I've been seeing that on Instagram, and I was like, ooh, maybe.
Yeah. I did pull up, I had a picture ready. Got to show it. So
yeah,
this draws you in. Her color, that yarn is beautiful. I think it's the yarn she used, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's a good pattern too for a yarn that's like variegated, or
yep.
I guess, is that yarn really striping, or is it more like color shifting?
It's color shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's variegated and it's color shifting. Right? You can see that.
Yeah.
More reddish orange, and then with the green too. So it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yay. Awesome. Yeah, I love that Patons yarn. It's really fun to knit with, and it's so affordable.
Exactly. And Michael's often has discounts. So it was 20% off on top of whatever, 3 something a ball. So I want to get more for sure. I think they have a teal color that's similar to that. So I'm a fan. Definitely.
Yeah. Nice.
I have more, but maybe you should go.
You want to alternate?
Yeah, let's
go back and forth. Okay, so I have some socks also, because I can't. So these were actually my last sock whip. So once I was done with that, I literally had no socks on the needles.
Nice.
So I dug out some. I've had, I mean, you guys probably know by now that I love using up scraps. So a while ago when I was organizing my stash, I had grouped up groups of scraps that would go together to make pairs of shorties. And then just when I'm like looking for projects sometime, I'll just like, I have them in little Ziploc bags and I pull them out and then I can make some shorties. So I pulled out one of those and I made one of 2 socks. So just a little shorty. So this yarn is this like pink and variegated yarn is a bamboo yarn, and I have no idea what kind of yarn it is. And I made my first pair of socks. It was probably like 2005 or 2006, and at the time, I really didn't like knitting like tiny yarn on small circumferences, but I basically was like, I'm forcing myself to learn how to knit socks because I feel like I would really like wearing socks. So now I love knitting socks and I knit them all the time. But the first pattern I knit was a pattern from Interweave that was like a very complicated lace sock pattern. Why did I choose to start with that? I don't know, but they did come out okay. And I did wear them for a while. They finally got a hole in them, so I tossed them. But the second pair of socks I knit was a vanilla sock with this bamboo yarn. And I remember going to our old local yarn store, Article Pract, which isn't there anymore. And this was before Ravelry. So I remember asking them, do you have a pattern for a plain sock that I can knit with this yarn? And like buying the paper pattern for the plain sock, which, you know, blast from the past. Anyway, but those, I knit them on a little bit of too loose of a gauge, I think, because I was a newer sock knitter. So I tossed them like 5 years ago or so. They were perfectly fine, but they just were like sloppy and always falling down and whatever. But I have the leftovers, and this blue yarn I made a sweater with, and it also has bamboo in it. So they're similar fiber content. Yep. So now I have to make the other one. I just did the cuff this morning. But the problem is that the rest of the blue yarn is like all different weird, like I have to rip out swatches.
Have fun.
So I need to take some time to like make little balls in it. I think it should be okay because I am cutting after each stripe because the stripes are really thick, but I just need to like get this mess organized before I can do it.
And you know that you have enough though.
I know I have enough because I weighed it. Between the two, there's 50 grams. Okay. So I'm definitely going to have enough, but I just have to. I used, of course, all the stuff that was still like nicely in the ball for the first sock. And now
it's all a part of the process.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess we're on a sock roll.
Ooh, more socks.
Because I have an update. So you all probably remember. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call, but I'm trying to ignore it without hitting decline. My 2 at a time socks.
Oh, right.
Just a little update. I'm not going to spend too much time on these. But here's where I am. Just to remind you, the yarn is Self-Striping Yarn by Fibrelia. I think she's out in Canada. And I got these, I'm making these for my partner, one of my partner's sons. They're each getting a pair of socks for Christmas. And his favorite color is orange. And I love these colors too.
Good choice of favorite color.
Right? He fits right in. But anyway, the update is that I have finished. Can you all see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
We were talking about, Heather asked me about the 2 at a time heel flap and gusset. So my heel flap and gusset, what am I doing? I did it 2 at a time. And someone had posted that Crazy Sock Lady had a tutorial. So I did look at her tutorial for the 2 at a time and looked at the gusset component. And it's semi-intuitive. It was good to see it visual, and it made sense when I went. Towards the end, I got a little bit nervous because of starting the decreases, and I was like, you keep going across the front and then you decrease. So I'm just mentally getting that that just pattern in my head with the 2 at a time. But it helps that I had just done the decreases on these to translate that to how I was working this 2 at a time. So yeah, it's doable, and I'm over that hump. The next hump are those decreases.
Nice. So I felt the same when I watched it. I was like, I've never thought, I would never have occurred to me to do it that way. But once I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. I feel like I was worried there would be too many stitches on that back needle. Is it like feel awkward, or does it feel okay?
That was weird at first, especially because the other pattern, I learned that I like when you switch the beginning of the round on the decrease, if you do it that way. But I couldn't do that here. That was awkward. Pretty much what I do is I scrunch them up while I'm knitting, and it's better. It's not awkward that way. But yeah, I had a moment there.
Yeah. All right, nice. All right, we'll do the update on my mom's sweater. So this is the Apogean pattern by Marie Greene, and the yarn is Tosh Sock. Tosh Sock in the color Cousteau, and my light's better today, so you can actually kind of see what color that really is. It's like a blue-green teal. So last time I had very little of the body done, but I did have a sleeve. But as I was knitting the sleeve, I just felt like the gauge seemed too tight, and I was like, I don't think this sleeve is gonna fit. And like, my mom is a smaller size than me, but more so through the torso. Like, I don't think our arms are that different of a size. So I was like trying on the sleeve, and it was definitely too small. So then I said, well, before I go any further, let me block it and just see like if it's gonna block to the right measurements once it's blocked. And sure enough, the sleeve was still too tight. So I think what was going on is that I think I knit a tighter gauge magic loop than I do when I'm just going in the round. So even though I was using the same needle, the gauge was a little bit tighter. So when I go back to do it again, I'm just gonna knit the sleeve. The body is knit on a 1, and I think I'm gonna knit the sleeve on a 1.5 magic loop just to make sure it's not too tight.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when I blocked it, I also found that the body was just slightly too small, like an inch, because she had sent me the measurements of a sweater a commercial sweater that she wears, that she likes. And this was it was about an inch smaller. So I said, well, I had to rip it back to the sleeves anyway. So I just added a couple more raglan increases to make it an inch bigger.
Yeah.
And so then I was tired of dealing with the sleeve. So then I just decided to go ahead and knit the body. So now I'm at the part, I'm going to start the ribbing today. And the ribbing is going to be this navy blue.
Nice.
Well, you can see that, but yeah.
I like Is it long sleeves?
The pattern has different options, so you can do short or long, but I'm making it long. Yeah.
Are you going to do that color on the cuffs as well for the sleeve?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also around the neckband, it'll be here too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but it's kind of cool to see. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. You can really tell the difference between where it's blocked and where it's not blocked. Maybe it'll show up better on the back. Oh yeah, can you see that line there? Do you see the line there on the back?
Yes.
Yeah. So above that is where it was blocked, and below it is the new knitting that hasn't been blocked. So it just shows like, you know, it's super wash yarn, so it does grow a little bit when it's blocked, and it's just, you can tell that it's like drapier and it's the right gauge here on top, and then of course it's tighter down here. So that was just kind of a fun, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You can really see how it changes when it's blocked.
Yep. Huh.
Yeah, so that's where things are with that. So making good progress and hoping to have that done hopefully by the end of the month.
Cool. And so will it just be a regular gift, or will you hold it for Christmas, or what are you thinking?
Well, it's last year's Christmas gift, so I will give it to her whenever it's done. Because I gave her an IOU last year.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
But you're working on a gift sweater too, right?
Yeah, so this is my last project. So, you know, this podcasting thing is really helpful because it held me accountable. If you remember, or for those who didn't watch last episode, I mentioned swatching for Mark's sweater. So I'm making him the Montrealer. I have a picture. That's what it looks like. Oh, and I'm blanking on his name. I have the pattern in front of me. The designer is Canadian, hence the Montreal. Mm-hmm. Vincent. So it's a pattern by Vincent. And I'm making this for Mark for Christmas. And if I want to have it done in time, I knew I needed to cast it on ASAP. So I said, maybe I'll swatch. I wound all of the balls of yarn, and Heather was like, maybe when you wind the balls, sorry, the balls. Maybe when you wind the ball, you'll want to cast on immediately. That didn't happen, but it was on my radar, and I finally cast it on. So no swatch, but so this is a bag full of yarn. Mm-hmm. So that'll be fun, going through all of that yarn. What was I going to say? So no swatch, but what Vincent does in the pattern is that after the raglan increases, mm-hmm. as you measure that distance and forge mm-hmm. on. So I think that'll be basically, I'm mentally preparing myself for the prospect of having to rip it out. Right. But knock on wood, that is not even going to happen. So I haven't gotten very far, but you can see, which way would I hold this? It's top down, so this is it. I don't know what I'm showing. There's nothing to show. This is the progress I've made, folks.
It must have short rows, huh? Because it looks like it's thicker in the back than in the front.
Let me mention that a little bit. A couple of things. It's a provisional cast on. And he just says whatever you prefer. And then there's some German short rows mm-hmm. for the back. And now I'm just doing the raglan increases.
Nice. What provisional cast on did you end up using?
It's just like the crochet cast on. I looked at a couple of different tutorials. Very Pink Knits, Pearl Soho, and Andrea Mowry had different ones. And each of the approaches were slightly different. At first, the Very Pink Knits one, you do the full crochet chain and then you knit into it. And I was like, meh. So then I liked the style where you're crocheting, you're crocheting around the knitting needle. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's the one I settled on doing.
Mm-hmm. I saw that one for the first time. Actually, it's in the Awa-Awa wrap pattern. And it's just a cast on. It's not even a provisional because you do it with the same color.
See, I feel like one of the videos had that as well. And
yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to take the risk and do it like this. I don't even know if I did it correctly. Heather and I spoke. She said, you know, when if this air clears up, when it's time for me to rip that out, she'll be there for moral support. You'll be the support.
I will. Yeah, so I had never thought, I always do crochet the whole chain and then pick up into it. And it, even until you just said that right now, it had never occurred to me to crochet across the needle, even though I did it for the cast on of the Awa-Awa wrap, but it didn't click that you could do that for a provisional too.
Yeah. So, because I think when I first texted you, I was like, it's already a lot of work. I guess. But it was the thought of having to do the chain first and then knit into it. But we'll see.
Yeah, and it when you crochet the chain first, at least for me, the chain gets all wonky and it's actually like a pain. So I think I'm gonna do it that way from now on, that you just said.
I could see it for fewer stitches, but for that number of stitches, I was a bit concerned about having to do it that way. So it works out when it's time to pull it out. Knock on wood.
Cool. Well, are you gonna have him try it on, or are you gonna keep it secret? You're gonna have him try it on.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to be able to try it on.
Right.
I'm not doing all of this work. I mean, it could be.
Well, I guess it's hard to keep it secret too. You'd have to like lock yourself in the bathroom or something and work on it.
Yeah. I can keep the socks a secret from the boys. Maybe I shouldn't talk so loud, but I can keep the socks from them. But Mark's always around, right? He's in the bedroom, so. So what do you have? Do you have anything else?
Well, speaking of the Awa-Awa wrap, I have done quite a bit more work on that. And here is the crochet. You're not really be able to see it, but it's I really liked the cast on because it looks very similar to how a bind off looks, which I'm sure is why she did it. So it'll look the same on both ends. But I just knit, a foot or so more of this. So now.
That's beautiful. I think that's going to bring you a lot of joy when you get to wear it.
I know, I'm really happy with it. So I'm on my second ball of each color. So I was hoping that I was going to be able to do it with 2 balls of each. I do have a third ball, but I really love these colors. So I was like planning a like sort of like warmer weather knit with stripes with these, but I'm going to need the yarn for this. So that dream is not going to come to life, but I especially really love this Mesa color, and I might have to get some more of this and make a sweater out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good neutral color for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I also messed up what color the dots were supposed to be at some point, but who cares? I mean, not like anyone's really going to be able to tell.
No one will know what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the Awa-Awa wrap by Olga Buraya-Kefelian from Olga Jazzy, and it's in Making magazine, the Dots issue. In my opinion, this is the best issue of Making ever. They've had like 9 or 10 issues, and this is my favorite one.
Ooh, I may have to browse through it.
Speaking of new issues coming out, there's a new issue of Pom Pom. I got the notification that it had shipped, and I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
So I have one more whip. I got out some crochet. So this week has been cooler. The week before this, it was really, really hot. And so we were, I was like sitting inside with all the blinds closed and the fans on and everything. And the light that's over, normally I like sit on my couch and watch TV and knit or crochet, and the light there is not a light with like a cool bulb. So I don't like to turn the light on when it's really hot because it just like heats me up. So I was having a hard time seeing my knitting. But for some reason, this crochet project, I was able to see it well enough. Maybe it's just because it's just one stitch at a time. There's not as much room for error. So I got out my Sunburst Granny blanket again.
Yay.
So I crocheted this while I was sitting in the dark watching the Tour de France last week. So I crocheted like, I think I did 18 more squares, and now I have 60. So all the circles are a combination of this teal, the colors all just have numbers, but this teal color, the lighter orange and the darker orange, and then the edges are all gray. So I just brought one of each to show what they look like. And I'm trying to weave my ends in as I go so I don't end up in the situation I was in with my Exie blanket with 9,000 ends to weave in. So anyway, so I was hoping to be able to make, I think I wanted to be able to make 80. So I always forget how much yarn crochet uses. So I thought I had 10 balls of the gray, and I thought, oh, that's going to be more than enough to make an adult, you know, like throw size blanket for an adult. And I'm not sure. So I was hoping to get to be able to have 80 squares, to have it be 8 by 10, but I don't think I'm going to have enough gray. So I'm hoping to get to 72 to make it 8 by 9. So we'll see. I make them in sets of 6 to make, because there's 6 possible color combinations.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So anyway, and then I'm going to edge it, join it together with the gray, and then edge it with the blue. So there's going to be like a blue lacy edging. And the pattern is called Sunburst Granny Blanket by Mrs. Moon. And this is Debbie Bliss Cashmerino Aran that I got on, it was on like a really good sale at Webb's a few years ago. So yeah, so I'm hoping to have all the squares for that done also by the end of the month, because this is one of my Clear the Needles projects.
Ooh, I'm always curious about, you see the little pieces, and it's always interesting to see it come together.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I mean, I think it's going to be nice, right? It's just going to be like,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and I also, so then I have a whole nother blanket quantity of this. I have 10 balls of the blue, and then a few more of the oranges, and then I have like a gold. And so I'm already planning like some kind of granny stripe situation for that.
Yeah. Great modeling there, Heather. So speaking of which, any updates on your Clear the Needles?
Yes. So with finishing those socks, I'm now down, so I think I have 5 more projects from 2019 that I still have to finish. One of them is my like granny striped scrap blanket. So that's definitely I don't have enough scraps to finish that actually. So it's going to be like a long-term project. So 4 more, basically, if I can do another one in September and then 1 per month. But I'm actually starting to wonder if I can get actually all of my WIPs, including the ones from 2020 done.
You're upping the ante here.
I'm upping the ante. Because yeah, I don't know. The only problem is that, so I made notes before we started of what I actually have left. So the socks I showed are the only socks I have. I have 1 hat, 2 scarves, but Awa-Awa is almost finished. I have 3 blankets, and then of course one of those is not going to be done. So it's really 2. But then I have 6 sweaters that are in some, and most of them are like partially done. But I have, if you've been watching for a long time, you might remember I started the piece of silver way back in January, and I was going to wear it to stitches, but then I was having issue with the dye lots, and I have to basically rip it all the way back to the turtleneck. So I have to and I really do want that sweater, but I don't know if it's realistic to get that finished this year. So.
See, you had me at sock and hats and even wrap, and then you said what, six sweaters?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like maybe if I can just finish 1 sweater per month, then I would end the year with only having 2 left.
Yeah.
Because my mom's sweater is just basically needs the sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
My other version of this, I always want to call this pattern a different name because I knit 2 patterns that start with A at the same time. Audrey and Unst. That one just needs sleeves. I've got Shifty, which is on hold because I just need to do like the last few increase rows and I like can't handle it because it's too many stitches. But that one I'll go fast once I get past that. And then I have my pin tuck t-shirt, which I have actually been like picking away at. It just looks like the same. It's just more stockinette, and that should be not too bad. But then I have Astragal, which is barely started, and I have Piece of Silver, which is I have to rip all the way back to the neck.
So I'm gonna challenge you. Reasonable. To finish all of the WIPs except the one blanket and the sweaters by December 31st.
Okay. Okay.
And then I need to think of what my challenge is for you and your sweaters. But that for now.
Yeah.
Or one sweater a month.
I think one sweater a month is doable. Like I do really think I can get Apogean done this month. Yeah, I think that's doable, especially if I start with the ones that have less that need to be done on them.
So maybe a sweater a month. So the sweater's done in 6 months.
Yeah.
But no pressure, just enjoy.
No pressure. Yeah, just for fun. I mean, my original goal was to get down to one from each category. And I definitely, for the hats, socks, scarves, and blankets, I'll definitely be there. It's more the,
yeah.
But it's all the stuff from before this year will definitely be finished. So I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
Unless I start the one other thing I want to start.
All right.
That has to do with this green yarn.
Time for you to reveal you want to start.
So I was laughing at myself because I have a lot of sweater quantities of yarn that are just like yarn I've never used. I bought them for a particular sweater and I just never started the sweater, right? But somehow all I want to make is stuff that uses like leftovers that I have that might not be enough.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to make a Christmas sweater for a really long time. And just any sweater that's like Christmassy, right, to wear at Christmas. And so I saw this pattern, which I don't know if you can see that, but there's like in this case, the main color is blue, and then there's all these different little stripes.
Yeah.
So this pattern is called the Canna Sweater by Erica Kempf Broughton, and I just like saw it the other day on Instagram or Ravelry or something, and I thought that would be perfect for a Christmas sweater because I could do the main body in green. Mm-hmm. And it says for the size right before my size says you need 1 skein of fingering weight yarn for the main color. And then my size says you need 2. So I'm thinking you really only probably need like 1 1/3 or 1 1/2. And I have about 1 1/4 skeins of this green yarn.
Oh, so you want to chance it, huh?
And then I have a lot of different, I have a couple minis that actually came as minis in different shades of red. And then I have a bunch of like leftover balls of red. So I thought it would be cool to do those stripes in like all different shades of red.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
But A, then I have to cast that on before Christmas and I have 6 other sweaters going. And B, I might have to rip the sleeves of this out to make it work.
Is this where I give advice?
I feel you judging me. Okay, tell me. Tell me what I should do.
I'm an enabler. I would say go for it.
Okay.
Do you know if that designer usually accounts for kind of overstates the amount of yarn?
I have no idea, but I'm wondering, and she doesn't have very many other garment patterns. It's not anyone I had heard of prior to seeing this pattern, but I was thinking maybe I would message her and ask if she has the exact amount because she just puts it in like 1, 2, or 3 skeins. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if I messaged her if she could tell me like the exact amount. Yeah. Like, do I need 450 grams or do I need 600 grams?
And I know the actual pattern says the amount.
It might. I haven't bought it yet. Yeah, so maybe if I bought the pattern, it would tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, anyway, so I might start that. Probably not for a little bit, but in case this sweater gets unraveled, that's why I wanted to wear it today.
You want it in time for Christmas, though.
Yeah. What are your plans?
Let's see how this plays out. I guess I'll share. I'm trying to resist casting on. So the Nanaimo, when I finished that, I said, oh, I mean, I could cast on those socks, and I already knew I wanted to cast on Mark's sweater. But I have another pair of socks I need to make by Christmas. So it's the same, it's just a different color combo, self-striping yarn. And I'm probably gonna do like a 3x1 rib on those because his feet are still growing. So those, still contemplating picking the Minaret back up by Christina the Wolves. And then there's something else I want to cast on, but I don't know when. And I think I need to make a lot of progress on my current whips. So why do I like being suspenseful?
I don't know. I'm like, what do you want to cast on?
I've mentioned this pattern before on the podcast. I know I've mentioned it to you.
Oh yeah, I think you have. And you have the yarn for that. It just came recently, right?
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if we were going to talk about this stuff. So, but I do have the yarn sitting here with me. That's the 5-0 sweater by Fiber Tales. And it's knit with a mohair and worsted weight yarn. And so I'm predictable. Very predictable. I don't know why I feel a sense of like, oh, I don't know. It's always interesting to see how, I don't know how well these are going to go together. So we'll see. We'll see. But I love the Quince & Co. I didn't even mention the yarn for Mark's sweater. It's Quince & Co. Lark in the colorway Crow.
Okay.
So soon after I wound all of that yarn, I mean, I had gotten this yarn, so I wound all of this yarn too. So it's ready. It's more Quince & Co. Lark. Mm-hmm. And oh snap. Oh, this colorway is Fox.
Is Lark their worsted weight or their Aran weight?
Worsted,
okay.
And you know, it's burnt orange. Like,
yeah. It's amazing. What's the mohair?
And so the mohair is knitting for Olive, which is what she used for the pattern. And it's their Rust colorway.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird trying to hold this up. And so I didn't care if they were an exact match. Mm-hmm. They were a match because I feel like it takes on new life when you put the two together, but who knows? I'll have to see.
I think that's going to look good together.
So that's what we're working with. There were a couple of other, so there's someone who podcasts and also has a yarn company. And I just started watching their podcast, Cozy Cardigans.
And I haven't watched it. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I enjoy it. She uses a lot of colors that I like those natural autumnal colors. And she also dyes yarn, and I think the yarn company is like Big Little Yarn or something like that.
Okay.
She has a rust color that I really like. And there were a couple of places that had a rust color. But you know how the mohairs come in, this is 20 grams, but with a lot of companies, I think the 50-gram ones are like 400 something yards. And instead of having to buy 2, I would have to buy 3 or something like that.
This is her Big Little Yarn.
Yes, that looks like it. She has some gorgeous colors. So I need a reason to buy some yarn from her at some point. What was I saying, Heather?
Sorry, I got distracted. I had to look her up. She does have beautiful yarn. Like, and it's hard to see. It doesn't really show well through the screen. Anyway.
Her rust gorgeous. But it works out where some of the mohairs, the way, like with the ones that have more yardage, I would have had to buy, it's like $30 for a whole other skein when I would use like 30 or 40 yards for the pattern of it. So I had to find a company that had, you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, that had the smaller put up, that had the like 25 gram. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. We'll see.
Yay. Exciting. Yeah. All right. Well, any other knitting to share?
Whew, that's it for me.
All right. That's it for me too. We have one final thing. So we recently passed 500 subscribers, which we're really excited about. Thank you all for subscribing and liking and commenting every week. It really means a lot to us, and we enjoy, putting out our podcast for you every 3 weeks. Seems like our sweet spot. Every 3 weeks usually. And we're getting together a giveaway for our 600 when we get 600 subscribers. So we'll have some kind of giveaway then. But until then, there's a cross stitch YouTuber that I watch, Bendy Stitchy, who often does giveaways of patterns she's torn out of magazines. And so I was telling Wanda, like, I have tons of patterns from old knit scenes and interweave knits that I at one point went through and like got rid of the magazine and just kept the patterns I liked. But as I go through them, there's some that I've either already knit or I don't plan to ever knit. And I thought it could be fun to give those away because all it takes is just a stamp and an envelope. So I pulled out several. And with cross stitch patterns, it's like a little more fun because sometimes you can't there's no way to find those patterns except for to actually have the magazine, where most of these, because they're published by Interweave, you probably could get a PDF of them, but it's still fun to get something in the mail, right? So this week, we're going to be giving away the Helleborus Yoke cardigan by Matthew Nagy, which was in Knit Scene, I don't know, that winter, spring 2010. And it does have a few pencil markings on it from when I made it, but it's still a readable pattern. And this is actually was another failed sweater I tried to make for my mom. I realized when I was pulling it out. I did make the whole sweater, but it came out a little bit too big for her because back in 2010, I wasn't as good with gauge. But it's a really cute pattern. And knit scene patterns are really easy to follow and fun to knit. So if you would like to have me send you the Helleborus Yoke pattern, leave us a comment down below. And we will also want to put together an Ask Us Anything episode. So leave us a comment, ask us a question, and let me know that you'd like the pattern, and we'll do a giveaway and announce the winner next week.
Sounds like a plan.
So, all right. Well, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in about 3 weeks.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.